La 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 la. If you can hear some weird sounds in the background, it's because I'm just editing some audio real quick to send us in. Right, so I'm just going to grab some water, drink, and then we'll start. So, little known thing, I actually sung all of the CitizenCon music. No, not CitizenCon, just general Star Citizen music. Actually, it's all my voice. That's not true. That's none of that. None of that's true. That's true. What are we doing? I'm gonna lower the volume of this slightly. I'm gonna do that. That's my face. Hello. Hope everyone is doing well. All good. All good and well. I've not set any of this up very well. It's just classic stream from me. Hello, hello. Hope everyone's doing well. So that thumbnail image of my stream, which I always use, is my favourite Star Citizen screenshot from Haskaha, who has previously allowed me to use a huge range of his work for my thumbnails, and I've edited them and tweaked them slightly sometimes. But his, I absolutely love his style. I love his screenshots. I'm hoping he's going to do loads more in the future. So yeah, he's genuinely very talented. So yeah, if you'd like to ask a question during the live stream, just say question brackets and then just sort of ask away. Obviously, we've got CitizenCon coming up next week. We've got Alpha 4.3.2, which is with Eva Cardi at the moment. There will be a video coming out real soon after this stream. I haven't uploaded it. I should upload it, but I'm worried that would destroy my. I'm worried that would destroy the stream. We could try it. We could try uploading. But no, well, it's fine. It'll be fine. I'll just go. The video will go out at like 5 or 6. Yeah, my time. It'll be fine. So, big surprise in 4.3.2. None of the features so far that were expected there have turned up, but it is Eva Carti. It's a big salvage update, real big, and they've changed a load of stuff. They've implied there's more salvage ships, although for some reason they didn't mention the Prospector, the Fortune, effectively a variant of Prospector. They go, the Reclaimer now. It's going for quantity over quality, and there's like a bit of a processing time behind taking all these materials, and then you go and refine them, and refining is part of salvaging proper, and sort of expanding all of that out, and there's sweet spots, and it's much more you trying to align yourself or move these sort of these chunks of salvage around to get the most optimum salvaging you can from structural salvage, and there's dust chunks and chunks. No, what's the other one? Another bit. I'm gonna have to bring it up on the screen. Powder, scraps, and chunks. That's the types of raw material that you can get from a structural salvage now. And eventually, all of this will be its own material as well. So ships are crafted from materials, and they will be in the future, and those materials will be reflected when you salvage a ship / create a ship. So really excited for all of that. Sounds really, really cool. And they are currently doing some economy balancing as well. But I'm expecting a starter salvager to turn up here. The variant of might actually be a variant of a golem, but basically a something that fills the golem's role for salvage. You call it the dung beetle or something. Hope everyone's doing well though. Hope people excited for CitizenCon. Any of you going to a watch party? Just did some audio for a sort of countdown to CitizenCon type of thing, because we had the monthly report. The monthly report gave us a load of interesting information. One of the things that we know about now is the Jormandi, which was leaked a little while ago, but it's sort of more confirmed that it's actually going to be in our hands in the not too distant future, potentially with this patch, potentially soon, maybe something they show at CitizenCon, but it looks to be a kind of variant of the Valakar, or at least built similarly, but like a more frosty worm kind of thing. Dragon lizard worm. So assume it's coming from Jormandi, the sort of Norse world serpent. I talked about it in one of my videos. Hello. Thank you for all the comments. Genuinely appreciated. The phrasing of placing the vulture in the middle rung suggests there's going to be an RSO start soon. But there's also the fortune, right? Which they didn't mention for some reason in the patch notes. Potentially because they haven't balanced it properly yet. Question, with the upcoming ability to choose your respawn point out of several you have preset. Yes, so this is part of the evolution of medical mechanics. Is it viable for your org to have an Apollo as a mobile fast travel spawn base to get to... Oh, okay, to get to events and stuff. Yeah, 100%. Like, I think that the Apollo stuff is going to be much more useful for people. The thing is that just spawning at an Apollo is not useful. You need infrastructure to support that. So what do I mean by that? Well, you need ships and vehicles nearby to have to then use, right? Or you can deploy the troops on the ground. So great if it's if you're using it as just an FPS respawn, but then you don't need an Apollo. The long range distance respawn of the Apollo is great, but you still need to get into a ship or a vehicle to leave it. So you also potentially want people to drop you off at like a nearby station, maybe, or something like that, or an augmate to come and pick you up afterwards. So we go. If I'll start collecting questions for next week as well, because I'm planning to go to the National Space Centre watch party in the UK, and I know there's a strong dev presence there, CIG. Doesn't the Perseus have a small little area for an Ursa? Yes, it does. The last time they talked about it, it said it had a little cargo bay area that could take a small vehicle like an Ursa. Obviously, that might have changed. Maybe it'll be a bit bigger vehicle. Maybe they change it so it can't use a vehicle. But it's likely that it will still take an Ursa or more, right? They very, very rarely give us less. They sort of scale up these ships a little bit. Hi, Board. Do you think they'll use the Apollo chassis for an RSI salvage ship? So, they did sort of mention that it was related. They kind of implied that it was related, a ship they were making, related to the Apollo or the Apollo chassis. So, maybe? Question, late joiner. Well, not that late. Not trying to derail the conversation, but do you think we will get more than one ship at CitizenCon? If so, how many? So I talk about this in a video that you'll see soon. I think we'll see 2 or 3. Be my expectation. We've got the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo end of next month, so maybe I'm being overly optimistic on the amount of ships and vehicles that might turn up at CitizenCon, but almost certainly or very likely, I should say, the Anvil Paladin gunship. That's been implied. That's pretty much ready. The digital goodies pack has a flight suit, which is very similar to the art style of the Paladin and the sort of colorings and stuff from the concept. I also expecting to see now. There's a couple of other things that I think are possible and likely. We've got a starter, a salvage ship, which I think is likely as well because of the way this 4.3.2 patch is going at the moment. And the other thing is potential for an Asperia ship. We could have Vandal ship updates in general, bringing like the glaive and the scythe up to standard. because you don't have to have a Squadron 42 presence for them to have a Vandal presence, right? But also, it's possible that we'll see an Asperia Stinger, a sort of heavy fighter from the Vandal, but like either reproduction or captured one. I think that's possible as well. Those are my sort of expectations ship-wise. If they, so someone said, no way, it's Starship. The Apollo's way too big, basically, for a starter salvage ship. Yes, I agree. However, there might be more going on, and there could be variants of the Apollo they're working on. There could be a salvage version of the Apollo they're working on, just not a starter one, right? Just bought a monitor's just been delivered for me, 4K, relatively cheap, but moderately good, a 4K one, because I've got a 4K one, but it's only 60 hertz, which I use as like a monitor above me, just like a secondary monitor. And my primary monitor's 165 hertz, 1440p monitor, which I've used for quite a while. But I've wanted to make 4K content for ages now, and I've been using 1440p content or scaling up to 4K. But I want to be able to record in 4K, and I think I'm probably able to get, especially with how much better Star Citizen's been performing recently, I think I'll probably be able to get pretty good 4K footage now without having to break the bank. If anyone wants to buy me a 5090, you're more than welcome. I'll give you a NordVPN shout out for or something. But I am the thriftiest man alive. Any of you that well, I'll prove it if I meet you. Hopefully, I'll see some of you at the Bastardison / watch party next week. It is going to be based on do I have the energy on the day? And what I mean by that is I'm going to wake up on next Saturday and go either, oh, I don't want to face the world. Nah. I'm staying in, and I'll just have a cover CitizenCon immediately as stuff comes out, make videos. Or I'm going to be like, yeah, I really fancy going, and try not to get inebriated. Although I don't really drink anymore, so that's not as hard as it used to be. So for next week, hope to see you in Leicester. Yes, I'm planning to go to that. It'd be great to see Semper Prime. I need to fix the Atlas interaction. Yes, it's a known issue at the moment. Bob Mitch, 1 week till I get to see your face once again. Okay, I almost certainly will go. There's a few people now that I haven't seen for a while that I want to see. Bob Mitch, you are one of them. I did not know you were going. That is awesome. Yeah, maybe an Apollo Salvage variant. Exactly. It's possible, right? Or just an Apollo. They could do loads of different Apollo variants, but Salvage, why not? It's modular. Go crazy. Reclaimer work. So sad they have time for new ships, but they can't give a big old one some love. So the Reclaimer might be getting some updates in the not too distant future. That is my expectation. Yeah. Right, going 4K, you'll love it for Star Citizen. What monitor did you get? So I got a relatively cheap one. I got a. Let me find a link for you. 3. LG monitor. It is. I will. Okay. An LG 27-inch 4K monitor. That's the serial. If you want to have a look at it. I need to bring up my other chats. People are interested. That is the monitor that I was referencing. So anything bigger than 27 inches is too big for my eyes. Okay, I sit pretty close. But for my setup, I don't want ultra wide stuff going all around me. I want multiple monitors. That's maybe I'm just a gaming boomer now. I really love some of Star Citizen's music. Jump. These. There we go. One of my favourite pieces. The Commons from New Babbage. 144. So my mate DC, Zin's partner, and my editor's partner, he is very much in the realm of he wants super high refresh rate, and he'd happily use a CRT on that, to be honest. Get a higher refresh rate. When you say you want the Heartseeker so bad, are you talking about Heartseeker Mark 1 and Mark 2? Talking about the Hornet? Curious what you like the most. Bam. I do appreciate all the support I've had over the many years. So Star Citizen, I think it was originally announced like around 13 years ago now. Oof. And I've covered it since 2014. 2013, 2014? 2014 is when I probably started covering it. I think I mentioned it in 2013. Started covering it in 2014. Absolutely love Star Citizen, the project, warts and all. Game is super interesting. I like playing in... So I enjoy playing more in PTU phases than I do in live builds at the moment. That will obviously change once we have Star Citizen 1.0. Because everything will be persistent and I'll be working towards getting... a lot. I'm super excited for bases and having a proper economy tying everything together. What's up, Board? What's good with some older ship reworks? Will ships like the Mercury Star Runner, the Core series, Constellations, and both the older ships receive some kind of rework? So all ships will be brought up to gold standard and made ready for the Maelstrom system, made ready for engineering, and all that sort of stuff, right? Will they get deeper reworks? Like, will the Mercury Star Runner get an additional egg set or anything like that? Maybe not for some of them. I wouldn't expect huge reworks for any of these ships. We do know that the Aurora and Hammerhead are getting a bit of an update at the moment. Think of that what you will. How goes the stuff and things? Stuff and things are going all right. I burnt my hand a couple of weeks ago. It's so much better now. Like, burnt it a couple of weeks ago, and it was at the higher end of a minor burn. I was able to treat it pretty well. I had most of the stuff and put it under a tap for like half an hour, and then iced it. Not supposed to ice it, but icing made it feel better. And so I did, and I had people around, so I didn't really want to go to hospital. But don't be like me. Burn yourself, go to hospital. But it's mostly better now. I don't think it will scar. Well, at least not much. Did you think the terraforming blurb in the loading screen was a hint at Genesis system being implemented? So. Okay. I reckon a load of this stuff is leading to Nyx. I think they're going to be talking about Nyx and showing Nyx off at CitizenCon. I think we're going to have Nyx in game by the end of the year. Patiently waiting for the Ironclad. I'm hoping we see it for Fleet Week in May next year. That is my expectation at the moment. So, 13 years with Star Citizen and Squadron 42 is kind of bad because it's the false starts and the expectation, right? So in 2015, when I went for my first CitizenCon, if I was told then that it was Answer the Call 2026 rather than 2016, what they showed me on the screen, I'd have been like, oh, a decade, there's decade, over a decade. But I love the project, what's and all. It's been really liking what they're doing this year. It is very different to what they've done previously, and they are genuinely adding content and expanding out the game pretty rapidly, sort of content-wise. Like, see where we come from the beginning of the year and how playable it was compared to now, and so much to do. And there's some relatively big things to do, and you can get all the ships in game and all that sort of stuff. I mean, there needs to be a huge amount more, and play area is one of them, and loads more content and stuff. But they are genuinely working towards 1.0, and we could have that in 2-3 years, right? When are we getting the Bored and Senior gameplay live stream? We will start doing them as soon as Star Citizen is not in a place where I want to face palm. I literally hit myself on the nose there when I face palm myself through the table. If it like crashes or whatever, Zin's not going to deal with the crashes as well as I am. I appreciate all the kind words. Old School Muck one, yeah. So Zin absolutely loves the original and has one, the original Heartseeker. I think the skin's much better on it, right? So, CitizenCon next week, 7 PM UTC on Saturday, the 11th, and yeah, I think CitizenCon's gonna be good. It's only a 2-hour, pretty concise one this time around, and as I said, I think we're gonna see the Nick system. Yeah, I think we're going to see the Nick system and a load of updates that are like, bam, this is where we've come from last time we showed you our progress on 1.0. This is like new cool stuff. Here's the Jormandi. Hey, but I've not played in a while, but was running on the current state of the Connie's gold passes. So, I think there were... I think they said they were going to do a gold pass on the Connie. I think they're doing it with N4 engineering. That is citation needed. I will do a bit of an update for some of these older ships that do need a pass, but we know that obviously CIG have been working loads on RSI ships, and I would expect pretty much all the RSI ships with the Aurora we work to get a little bit of a love as they prepare them for engineering. I totally agree with you. The Connie seriously needs a refresh and rework, as does the Aurora, but they're working on the Aurora now. Bringing the Hammerhead up to date as well. So the Perseus, basically, CIG have implied, or maybe even explicitly said, the Perseus is for the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. I mean, it could turn up at CitizenCon if they wanted it to, but maybe they'll show it off. Or they go, ooh. Sorry, I don't normally stream on Fridays. I'll try to go back to streaming on Mondays and Tuesdays. Monday/Tuesdays. Next week again. I just sort of wanted to turn up and say hi to people. Your AMD Ryzen 9000. Oh. Thank you for that. I will sort that out now. I can work out how. Edit panels. I'll just remove it for now. That's a good idea, right? Panel's broken. Ah. There you go. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. I'm I'm pretty low effort and lazy with a lot of stuff. If someone tells me something's wrong, broken, I'm not very proactive. OBI trackers are on sale again. If people want those, I've got a link in videos. What else is going on? So they've been working on the not escape pods, but I think it's connected to the escape pods. They've been working on the command module stuff for the Caterpillar for the Ironclads. And I think they're also going to use that for, well, the Endeavour, but escape pods as well. Yeah, we'll see modularity for the Carrack and the Caterpillar. We will, and they'll fix some of those problems with them. Yeah, they've got to rework some of the bits of the Carrack or the escape pods, right? Not escape pods, the cargo pods for it. I'm very keen to have a Constellation update for sure. I believe they did talk about that a little while ago. So you think I've got stuff set up? You think I've got things set up for this? Oh. Right, where's the...
If you're obsessed about...
No, that's some sort of ad. Here we go. You want some Toby Eye Tracker with discount? There you go, buddy. There you go. I'll sort you out. Bam. There you are. Do you think the Perseus will have any pilot-controlled weaponry? So, it talks about this, and potentially. We don't know if the pilot is going to be able to control the big guns, or if they're able to put a blade in there. I think the implication was they might be able to. But they are massive guns, and I think it will take... If you don't have a crew/NPC throwing them, then these are going to be very powerful ships if you can just have just a pilot shoot them. I do expect they'll be able to fire the other weaponry, though. I believe they upsized the guns as well, or at least that's the what I last heard, to size 8 rather than size 7, but they are bespoke. And it's dual, so I think it's dual size 8s on top and dual size 8s on the bottom on a big turret. Any news on my Baby the Kraken? So, it is in white box production. It's not in pre-production anymore. So they've got people working on it. We know that they've added a small med bay to it. And more than that, we don't really know. Has there been any talk about the Arrow's landing gear down with the wings still folded out? Oh, they can fit in shallow hangars. Not that I've heard of. Not that I've heard. I've not heard anything on that. I want them to fully separate landing mode, landing gear, and different flight modes, right? Your ships, so that you can have them all folded up if you want for certain things. Do you think docking will come with completion of the command module tech? Oh yeah, quite possibly. So we do know that they want to have ship-to-ship docking with still. And that sort of makes sense. The command module tech, though, is more taking authority from and then separating that when it has two parts. So when you come in contact with the Caterpillar and join with the command module, can take authority from that, and then sort of when it detaches, it goes I'm not in charge of this caterpillar anymore. I'm just in charge of this command module. Do you think any of this NPC work they've been working on lately will either make it in sooner or later? So they've been updating stuff in the tech preview. They've been testing out some of the NPC updates for Squadron, because most of these are Squadron 42 NPC updates and AI updates that are coming into the persistent universe for the most part. It's all work towards NPC crew. You're going to see AI blades first, though. You're going to see more blades for more purposes, including firing weapons or being able to slave them to the pilots, or semi-autonomous firing. Will the command module work will expedite the ship-to-ship docking? Yeah, I think it may well be part of it, thinking about it. Is Nyx coming with the CitizenCon patch? Not as far as I'm aware. I think they're going to show it off at CitizenCon, Nyx. There's no confirmation of Nyx even coming this year, but I'm expecting Nyx by the end of the year, and for them to show it off in CitizenCon. I think that the new event that they've got, new story stuff, is going to lead to Nyx eventually. But yeah, expect some of this NPC and AI update stuff they've been doing on the tech preview, and the Vulcan updates and some of the other graphics updates to be in game real soon. I miss Levski. I don't think you're going to have to miss Levski for too much longer, because in the monthly report they implied that one of the old ATC controller voices is coming back, which is most certainly Eslin McCann, and which is the Levski ETC dude. Can you tell us more about the Nyx system? Well, Nyx is a pretty simple system. The main sort of hero location there is Delamar, which is a big asteroid. It's slightly less outlaw than the Pyro system, but it's along the same sort of lines. It's going to be pretty PvP and lawless. But there is a there are non-UEE settlers. So there's human settlers that have sort of wanted to not be part of the UEE. They seceded from the UEE, have their own sort of stuff going on at Levski on Delamar. And yeah, it's going to be a sort of high risk, high reward system. It's going to be being attacked. I believe the Vandal are pretty close, right? Going to be attacking because it leads on to the Odin system, which is where Squadron 42 is focused. I'm still on i5 9600K. 9600K was a great processor. And a 3060 Ti. Does the game perform better with better hardware? Yes. Is it time to upgrade? Only you make that decision. I have a great time with my 9070 XT AMD card. I was on a 3080 GeForce before that for quite some time. Yeah, I have been having a great time with that. And I'm not sure what processor I'm running at the moment. It's either a 9800 or a 7950. Both the X3D versions. It's one of those. I can't remember which one I decided to actually put in my PC in the end. I tested with both, and they were good at different stuff. I think I might have gone back to the 7950, but just because it was better for productivity in general. Will we see any cities inside Squadron, like walk around Arc or Microtech? Maybe. There's definitely going to be locations and structures and that sort of stuff, but I'm not sure what we're going to see beyond what we saw at Gainey and the sort of like pirate base there. Yeah, there's the giant space stations and stuff. Which are massive cities by themselves, right? Are we happy if the Perseus gets an AI blade, or if the pilot can shoot those size 8 guns? I just think it's too powerful just to go, yeah, the pilot has the main control of these giant weapons. Everyone will just fly around Perseus, and they'll be like the ultimate sub-capital ship. So I do think there's a concern with that. Will Squadron 42 be a corridor game, or will we be able to explore? There is a level of exploration that you can do, and lots of stuff that you can walk around and see. However, it is a story they're trying to tell. You are in the military, so there's a level of rail, right? You have to get back on the train every so often. Any idea what the updates to engineering gameplay are? So they have updated the panels to some extent and made them easier to sort of read and streamlined them. I know it's coming with fire and fire extinguishers. They've improved a load of the stuff. They haven't really said exactly how. They will be releasing a temporary version of an armor system, but it's more of a way of being able to get to balance and steps towards the Maelstrom system, because that will have physicalized armor. There will be subsystem targeting, I believe, in engineering, because it's all through the relays and subsystem targeting. It's just a more advanced version of what we had when they last tested it. A lot more refined, or at least a bit more refined. Any idea what as we talked about, what gameplay are you enjoying most at the moment? So at the moment, I'm sort of waiting on CitizenCon stuff. I want to do medical rescue and triage gameplay, sort of trauma team stuff. So, been enjoying messing around with the Onyx facilities. I want base building. I want a sort of deeper economy. Stuff like that would make me so much happier. When will we see base building? Well, we're likely to see updates to it at CitizenCon. They are working on crafting and base building and stuff like that now. Might see some base building, some little bits of it, maybe next year, like in-game in some way, but it's going to be not going to be like super expansive at that stage. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it will come sooner. What do you think a realistic price for the new... So we don't know that there's going to be the Sperio Vandal, the Stinger, released at CitizenCon or even the IAE. But it's possible. It will be pretty expensive. It's going to... How much is the glaive? Have a look. I'll give you an estimate on what I think its price would be. Hang that. Upgrades. Oh, you are looking. I think you're looking at like 450 to 500. Like genuinely, the alien tax on those ships is ridiculous. Yeah, and well, I'm aware. I think 500 probably. Like, while I'm aware, it's just strapped with loads of weaponry. If it's an Asperia reproduction, it'll be better than the actual original scythe. It'll be made for humans and have the additional human tech stuff. Because I think the Vandal are about 200 years behind in tech. Question mark. If their tech's different. Even though the respawn regen tech, the Ibrahim spheres and stuff, is based on their tech. Boom. Letting disembodied Chris Roberts here. Oh. On me. Hope everyone's doing well, though. Yeah, I'm super excited. Big yawn. I'm excited for 4.3.2, just because I did not expect the big Salvage update to turn up, and for that to be the main part of the Bacardi build, right? It was a bit weird. Perseus meant to be an escort ship with a few fighters. If you're really good, but you can kill a Perseus with a few. We don't really know. So, we don't know yet, right? So, yeah, I do think the Perseus will be vulnerable to fighters and fighter bombers, but what level of armor and damage mitigation is it going to give them? So, if it's basically got similar to capital ship armor, well, unless you've got size 4 weapons or above, you're not going to be doing much of any damage to that Perseus, and it's going to have some pretty big shields. So, but yeah, I do think bombers, I do think fighter bombers are going to be a big threat to it, and potentially torpedoes. And what levels of PDCs does it have? Last we heard with the PDCs that I believe it had 4, but that again was I think a rumor or a leak. Do you get a chance to ask your contacts about dynamic ship cargo doors yet? No, I did not. I do have it in my notes. I'll ask at CitizenCon if there's an appropriate dev there. Any idea when the Vulcan testing will be done and pushed out? Before the end of the year, because basically they said they wanted to test engineering before the end of the year on the tech preview build, and they do that once they had the Vulcan and AI/NPC updates phased into the live build that was being tested on the tech preview build recently. What's the latest on Death of a Spaceman? I lost track with the plans and what they are for it now. So, the main stuff they've been talking about recently are the medical updates and the item recovery updates. So they're going to be looking at those. They are directly connected to Death of a Spaceman, right? So you'll be able to have multiple respawn locations based on... you'll be able to have like one set for a facility, one set for a ship, and so that sort of stuff. And one set is your home location. You can sort of choose which one you spawn at. And then for item recovery, there's going to be insurance as part of your ships and loadouts and stuff. You'll be able to save your loadout and like insure it, and then reclaim that when you respawn. So they want loss, but they don't want it to be. They don't want you to be too scared to do anything. They want you to be able to recover this stuff. As far as we're aware, they do still want a level of permadeath that's like a threat. But I say that you do just create a new character and they get all of your old stuff, or at least most of it. There'll be a level of death tax, right? But that might have changed a bit and might be a little bit softened now. I'm running a 9070 XT. It's looking clean, mate. Thanks. I haven't really shaved or styled it. I had a shower and I brushed it all. I'm waiting for some clippers. So they can. Well, I've got clippers, but I haven't got any guards to clip it to the size. So I want it a bit longer than normal. I don't want it too long. Just want it to look neat. Clean. Pretty lazy as well. Don't really care that much about what I look like. I was recently running a 1070. Nice. So a 1080 is a great card. So I just want to say that 1070 is good. 1080 is a genuinely great card. Now running a 3060 with no shit. Yeah, okay, cool. I was running a 38 until recently, but as I said, I've got a new monitor which I'm going to be using for 4K. I'll probably set that up over the weekend. I finally took a shower. I know it was like a sub goal. 9070 XT is great GPU, yes, and CIG with their sort of Vulkan implementation and a load of the stuff that seems to have happened in the recent few patches for Star Citizen. The card seems to be really good. My 3080 burned out, running a 5070 now. It's great, cool. Yeah, I mean, a load of the new generation are very expensive, but they're pretty good cards, right? The old 1080 Ti runs Star Citizen better today than it did back in the 3.xx. Yeah, exactly. So a load of the stuff they're doing is genuinely making Star Citizen more optimal and playable across the board. Not for, well, going to be for most people. I switched to Vulkan about a month ago and it's been so much better. Yeah, so for the last 3 or 4 patches, I've been using Vulkan. It seems to be really good for my setup. Yeah, I'm hoping that at 4K I can get some pretty good footage, and that's noticeable on the channel. Right, do we have any more questions? Otherwise, I'm going to sort the stream, get a snack, and then get this video uploaded. I might go play some board games in Leeds tomorrow. There's some board game clubs that I wanted to check out. Is Rockall usable 2080? It should be. I don't see why not. Yeah, I do think there's going to be some relatively exciting things at CitizenCon. I do think Nyx is going to be one of them. I do think we'll see the Paladin. Once like Vulkan, always seems to start lagging after I play. I switch back to DirectX. Weird. Well, it's not super optimized yet, right? And there are certainly bugs and stuff with it. Is it possible that it hasn't fully built the shaders? Question mark? Not sure. I'm not sure how that all works. I'm a bit of a dum-dum. What if you have a 3D printer? You could print your own cards. What? Cards for what? What are we talking about? Yeah. 1080 / 1080 Ti is a solid card for 1080p gaming. I totally agree. Genuinely great card. Galaxy goes into production once the Perseus is delivered. It does. It takes a while to build the shaders. Cards for your clippers. What am I doing? Oh, yeah. What is the talk about a battlecruiser? Have you heard anything about it? Yes. So, I'm not expecting to see the battlecruiser this year. It is likely that it will be their last concept ship that they sell, and the rest of the ships they sell will be straight to flyable or like super soon to be flyable, but not concept stage. But the battlecruiser likely to be going into concept sale next year. Biggest ship they'll have on sale, I believe, for real money. And it's not like any other ship they've done. It's going to be a big combat capital ship. Favorite board game tier list? It sort of depends on a lot of different things. Oathsworn's one of my favorite games in the world ever, but so is Ark Nova for very different reasons. Oathsworn, absolutely amazing, campaign, tactical, boss fighter. Oh, so good. And Ark Nova, you get to build a zoo. Now, I'm actually quite looking to set up my monitor. I'm going to be moving mine around. I'm going to have 4 monitors. Yeah. A nice amount of nice amount of space. Yeah. So, but yeah, we're not expecting the battlecruiser to go into concept sale this year. Something probably next year. Right. I am going to dash off so I can get a video out. And so I can tidy up my house. Oh, how long do you think the Ironclad Grey Box... So I think we're going to see the Ironclad in our hands for Fleet Week in May. That is my expectation. During Drake Defence Con. Probably. I might be vastly off. That's my current expectation. I will revise that when we're closer to the date. I'm also, I'm going to get a video out, which is already recorded and everything. Just need to upload it and do a title and thumbnail. It's all about Alpha 4.3.2 and the Salvage updates and some of the stuff that might mean. And then I want to tidy my house because I've got some friends coming around who play Iridia. And we're in the middle of a campaign of Iridia. Iridia? Something like that. It's sort of like a... Games Masterless D&D. Pretty cool. It's pretty fun. It was sold as like one of the best games ever to us, and it's all right. It's pretty good. Love the little boxes with the models. They're like pre-painted models and the stuff. Pretty cool. But the gameplay's a bit sluggish, a bit clunky for my liking. Good fun though. It's do you only read Twitch when YouTube chat goes quiet? Kind of, because obviously when the YouTube chat constant, I constantly get. I'm like a magpie, yeah. And when the shiny goes away, I look for more shiny. Does that answer your question? Nick's reveal, is that a credible rumor? It's a rumor. I think they'll show off some of it at CitizenCon, and I think it will be in our hands by the end of the year. That is my expectation. That is my BoredGamer prediction. Let's go for prediction. That's a good word. So I think we could see a level of crafting and base building next year. Crafting, yeah. It doesn't need to be like all of the crafting. It doesn't need to be super in depth. It just be more and some interesting bits of it, right? And you could do the same with base building. You could have a level of base building, just some simple stuff, land claims and stuff as well. Right, I'm going to dash. Thanks so much for watching. Thank you very much for the support. If you want to further support the channel, use the join button under my videos or go to Patreon. My links to Patreon, or click the links to any of the affiliate products like NordVPN and stuff. That helps loads too. As I said, Tobio trackers are on sale at the moment. Links on my videos for that. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great day, and I hope you have a great weekend. And CitizenCon next weekend.